Hi, I'm Cathy Thomas, and joining me is Shachi Mehra, executive chef and co-owner of Adya restaurant in Anaheim, as well as the founder of Shachi's Spice Girl sauces. Chef is going to be sharing her luscious lamb-enriched rigatoni, spiked with her newest sauce, Tika Masala. Welcome, Chef. It's always so much fun to cook with you, and I want to hear about your new sauce.
So great to be here, Cathy. So one of the new sauces that's coming out soon is our Tikka Masala sauce. So it's a tomato cream sauce with ginger and garlic, super comforting, lots of flavor, and it makes things really easy for you. So chicken tikka masala, you can add it to pasta, you can use it as a pizza base, eggs, lots of ways to use it. It just makes things very easy for you.
And today it's going to be incorporated with lamb and rigatoni.
I have diced up leg of lamb. You can use shoulder. If you have a bone in, you can use that. We're just going to do salt and pepper. And I pre-ground this with my spice grinder just because it's easier to get more versus using a pepper mill for something like this.
All right. And you're using a good mixture there called a hand.
Yeah. I'm just going to make sure I wash my hands after, but I feel like this is the best way to make sure that it's evenly seasoned. We're going to turn this on, add a little bit of olive oil. We're going to wait for that to get hot because we want this to get color.
And it's making the right sound?
It's making the right sound. That means we're in good shape. I have an urge to want to touch it and move it around, but you really want to just let it be and get the color and then turn it and let it get color on every side.
If you keep moving it around, it won't brown properly.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a saying in there. If you can't keep moving it around,
let it
won't
brown.
get brown.
Patience. How's it looking?
Close, so you can see the edges have a little bit of browning.
Yeah, you've got some fond on the edge there.
Yeah. So one thing that's different about this and in general with whenever you're making Indian food is we don't tend to use wine to deglaze the pan or anything that adds flavor. We tend to use water. And the reason for that is we're just getting all the fond and everything that's in the pan off, but we're not adding any type of flavor to it. So and let the water evaporate so you just are left with what you originally had.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Chef, what are you looking for at this point?
So we're really looking for all of these bubbles to basically go away. And once all that moisture goes away is when it's gonna have a chance to start to brown.
Yeah.
We're gonna give this a couple more minutes and then we're gonna take this out.
Okay.
While we're waiting for this, for the moisture to go away and all of that, the other thing you can do is prep all the rest of your ingredients. So you could dice your onion, you could grind the coriander, chop up parsley. So you can have everything ready because you have to wait for this to happen anyway.
Right, and it takes some patience.
It does. So you want to keep yourself occupied so you're not trying to touch it and move it around all the time. We're gonna get all this lamb out and we're gonna set it aside while we make the base of the sauce. I'm using a slotted spoon so that I leave all the olive oil and the fat from the lamb in there.
Could I use ground lamb?
Absolutely, you could use ground lamb. It's gonna be way faster. And the only thing I would do is cook the onions, the ginger, the garlic, everything we're about to do, and then add the ground lamb to that.
Got it.
We're gonna turn this back on to medium high. And I am gonna add in, it's one medium onion. One really important thing is salt as you go. So I'm gonna add a pinch of salt. Oh, thank you. Right now. And what that does is helps release moisture. Basically, I like to say it gives each ingredient an opportunity to be its best self.
And you're coming in contact with the fond on the edges, and look at how it's changing the color of the onions.
Yep. We want these onions to cook also. So as you can see, a lot of them are still bright white. We want those to get translucent before we go in with the next step.
Got it.
We're using these crushed garlic and ginger, little cubes, because they are very, very convenient.
It is an amazing thing to know about. And where did you buy these?
They have them at Target and Trader Joe's in the freezer section. I happen to use a lot of ginger and garlic in my cooking, and it makes things so easy to have these in the freezer all the time.
It's a revelation.
Yes. And we're gonna stir that around, and immediately you can smell it.
Oh, that aroma is incredible.
So I'm using a canned crushed tomato. You can get whole tomatoes and crush them up or
Whatever. The
Canned
bottom
tomato
line
you
is you
got.
didn't start with fresh tomatoes.
No. And then the next thing we're gonna add is gonna be our spicing. And this is really simple spicing. We're only using ground coriander. So I brought some whole seeds so you can see them. And I've ground them in a coffee grinder. So I have 2 coffee grinders at my house. One exclusively for coffee, one exclusively for spices. Don't mix them up.
That's how it should be.
Yes. So we're using ground black pepper and ground coriander as our spicing for this dish.
So I've always read that tikka masala was not invented in India.
Tikka masala is actually Britain's national dish. And there's currently a court case in India as to where it originated. There's 2 restaurants fighting for that. And it's in courts to be decided. But it's very similar to what's known as butter chicken. There's a few different stories on how it got started, but for chefs of Indian origin, there's this sort of fight that we have internally because it's the most recognizable dish, but it's also a dish where you're like, well, do I want this? And I have come to love it over time, and I have found that it works in so many different ways because it's part of the change in how people are eating, and it's become part of our everyday lives. That's really what the impetus behind making Shachi sauces is I want people to enjoy Indian flavors every day, and I want to make it easy for them to do that.
And you've done it.
Thank you. So this is getting close, and the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add yogurt. I'm gonna mix this yogurt with about half a cup of water just to thin it out and to get the lumps out so that it's completely smooth when we put it in. It helps tenderize the meat. It'll add flavor and creaminess.
It's the softer style, not the Greek yogurt.
If you do have Greek yogurt and that's what you already have in your house, I would thin it out with a little bit more water. I'm a big believer in if I don't have to buy something I don't normally buy, then how can I make it work? We're gonna let this heat up together for a few minutes and then we're gonna add the lamb back. I am gonna taste to see if we need to add a little bit of salt, because I think we do. We do, just a tiny bit. And then we're gonna add that lamb back in.
Okay.
Stir to coat, covered, and into the oven. It's gonna take about 2 hours.
Ooh, look at that.
Look at that. This has come out of the oven and it looks and smells delicious. We're gonna grab a couple of forks and shred that meat a little bit. Not too much, because I know some people want to have some chunks. Once we have this out of the oven and we cool it down, we can just refrigerate this for up to a week and then finish it with the sauce and the pasta on the day we're serving. You could also freeze it for up to 6 months. So if you wanted to make like an extra big batch because you know you're gonna want to eat it again later, you could definitely do that. So since we are eating this today, we're gonna go ahead and finish this go all the way. We're gonna add our jar of Shachi's tikka masala sauce. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. My hands don't have anything on them.
I'm gonna go ahead and add the full jar in and put this on low so it heats up together. Because it's a tomato cream sauce, it's gonna add a little bit of sweetness and it'll add like a creamy mouthfeel that'll really help it stick to the pasta and really feel comforting and lovely.
Oh, Shachi, it's so good in so many ways.
Yay!
Oh,
Yay!
all right.
So I'm going to add rigatoni, which we already cooked. I mean, there's plenty of time while this is in the oven or otherwise that you can cook the pasta.
I really love how generous this dish is with the lamb. This is protein-packed and delicious.
Protein packed. Yes, I think everybody's pro-protein currently. Lamb is the star, and we're just bringing all the other stuff sort of helps it be great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is fantastic.
I'm going to make this next week. Here's a quick tip from Melissa's. Not only is coleslaw delicious, it's a great way to eat a bowl full of healthy veggies. It's a versatile salad that can easily change its personality by alternating the ingredients in the dressing. This easy version loads the perky dressing with poppy seeds. Start with about a half of a medium-sized green cabbage, and I'm going to cut out the core, putting a flat side down. I'm simply going to cut it into shreds. You could do this in a food processor with a slicing blade, but somehow I enjoy the chop part. I'm just going to give it a crosswise slice. You want about 2 generous cups. Now to add color and sweetness, I want to include some carrots. I cheated and bought them already shredded, but sometimes they're really long, so I give them a little chop so that they're easier to eat. And some celery. I store my celery in ice water in the fridge, so I'm just going to get off some of that excess water. And I'm just going to cut it across like so. In my garden, I've got lots of beautiful Tuscan kale, so I just cut a couple of tender leaves. And so because they're tender, I'm not taking out the central stem, just folded it in half and going to cut it into thin strips. And then crosswise and into the salad. And then some herbs, some fresh basil. And I just kind of fold the leaves in half and again cut them crosswise. And a rough chop. I like to put in fresh dill too. I love the flavor of fresh dill. And I bought this a few days ago, brought it home from the market and wrapped it in a slightly moist towel and inside of a plastic bag that's left open at one end. And what that does is it keeps the water, just a little bit of water, in those leaves so it stays fresh. So this looks like it was just picked today. A little salt. And I'm going to give it a toss. And now a light dressing, and I like it really lightly dressed. Sometimes I make a nice little perky vinaigrette, but today I'm going to go more classic and use just a little bit of mayonnaise. I've got about 3 tablespoons here, about 2 teaspoons of white wine vinegar, and a teaspoon of poppy seeds. A tiny bit of salt, and a tiny bit of pepper. And we're there. Now that doesn't look like very much dressing. If you're a dressing person, you might want to double this and give it a toss. A half a cup of cranberries. These cranberries are mixed with golden raisins. And a generous 1/3 of a cup of pepitas that have been toasted and salted. Yum. So this is best if it's chilled for about an hour, but you can chill it up to 24 hours easily and it'll still be delicious. Delicious healthfulness in a bowl, right? Find the recipe at cathythomascooks.com.